Fonio is an ancestral African grain. It is often referred to as the seed of the universe. In fact, Fonio has been cultivated in Africa for over 5,000 years. So, it's at the heart of many African legends and rituals. Some are still practiced today. Fonio is considered a lucky charm, a luxury cereal with extraordinary medicinal virtues. It's considered a royal food. Many people take it to their graves for their last journey. It's said to have been found in the tombs of certain pharaohs in ancient Egypt. Fonio is so precious that it represents a form of protection in the afterlife. In West Africa, fonio production is impressive, meaning it's consumed by everyone. Unfortunately, its success was short-lived. At the end of the 19th century, colonization and the introduction of Western cultures signaled the end of fonio. From then on, fonio was a thing of the past. It was seen as the distant seed of peasants and commoners. What's more, in the second half of the 20th century, fonio cultivation seemed far too laborious. Equipment was not sufficiently adapted for its husking. Wheat, rice, and corn took over from this now obsolete and minor cereal. The situation changed in the 2000s, however. A group of scientists developed state-of-the-art hulling machines. In fact, they were specially designed for the tiny fonio seeds. Today, more and more farming communities have access to these machines. Fonio production can therefore be stepped up. It was in December 2018 that this cereal really took off. The European Union officially approved it as a new ingredient. Fonio can now be marketed in Europe in a healthy and innovative way. But can this little seed really solve the problem of world hunger? That's what we're going to find out in the rest of this video. Straight from the savannas of Africa, fonio has some surprising qualities. It is particularly useful in the fight against global warming. It's true that these seeds can germinate in all types of soil. Whether poor, acidic, or sandy, they take root. That's why it's adapted so well to the semi-arid lands of the Sahel, stretching from Senegal to Sudan. What's more, fonio needs very little water to grow. Compared with rice or maize, its water requirement is derisory. It's true that under the surface of the earth, its roots form a very dense network. This retains water and slows soil erosion. This little seed is therefore a natural way of halting the phenomenon of desertification. In today's world, this reality represents a real threat. We urgently need to find solutions to slow down the terrible progress we are witnessing. The planet is running out of food. By 2050, harvests could be reduced by more than 10%. These figures are particularly alarming, given the current situation. Finally, fonio ripens very quickly. Only 6 to 8 weeks pass between sowing and harvesting. The latter takes place at the very start of the rainy season. These short cycles allow up to 3 harvests a year. As a result, local populations are able to set up food reserves in case of extreme need. Are African countries the only ones affected by famine? Is fonio really the miracle solution? More than anywhere else in the world, desertification and hunger are growing in Africa. Does this little seed mark the beginning of an agricultural revolution in these extremely poor countries? It would seem so, and it's true that it represents a sure bet for local farmers. Fonio is such a crutch for famine-stricken populations, it can also be described as a bulwark. In regions hit by global warming and desertification, growing this cereal is a godsend. In fact, in African countries, food security is one of the most important issues. Fonio is particularly profitable and, unlike other crops, ensures daily sustenance. Between July and the new harvest in September, many families find themselves in need. They find it extremely difficult to find enough to eat. A large part of the population doesn't even eat one meal a day, a situation that is hard to imagine for those of us who lived in developed countries. According to the United Nations, Africa remains the country most affected by malnutrition. 21% of Africans suffer from it. That's over 256 million people, enough to terrorize the greatest number. Fonio is also described as the perfect protein. Its nutritional qualities are exceptional. It's a source of fiber that remains very low in calories. It's also rich in methionine and cysteine. These are 2 amino acids sorely lacking in all competing cereals. Fonio is also gluten-free. In the age of gluten-free and veganism, this product is bound to win unanimous approval. Could we look forward to the industrialization of fonio? At least that's what Chef Pierre Thiam has in mind. Since 2017, he has been dividing his time between the West African and New York shores. He is considered the ambassador of Fonio across the Atlantic. His mission is to restore this cereal to its former glory. Thanks to his company Yolele Foods, he has introduced Fonio to America. Its modern packaging is winning over a growing number of consumers. Fonio is in with the times. Pierre Thiam sells dozens of tons every month. He brings in thousands of kilos directly from West Africa. Between Burkina Faso, Ghana, Mali, and Senegal, the chef has built up a network of over 800 Fonio growers. They work hard to produce the quantities needed to supply Yolele Foods. The seed of the universe is now being exported to New York, while international markets are opening up to African farmers in need. Could this be the end of immense poverty? Pierre Thiam also works with NGOs under the framework of fair trade. As a result, Fonio is distributed throughout the United States via supermarkets, restaurant chains, and online. We're talking about over 500 points of sale. Fonio has now conquered America. Will it become a daily staple on our plates? However, Pierre Thiam is hoping to sell it throughout Europe. So this is just the beginning of his adventure. However, he still needs to work on conquering the continent where it all began, Africa. Demand was beginning to pick up, particularly in the continent's capital cities. Colonization gradually gave way to traditional culture. The shores of Senegal are about to welcome the very first modern Fonio processing plant. The objective is simple. The seed is to be industrialized directly where it is grown. African farmers must be seen as actors in global food change. Our diet is diversifying, and it's partly thanks to them. Fonio must no longer be underexploited. The treasures that Africa has in store for us need to be brought out into the open. No matter where they live or what beliefs they practice, they all have one thing in common when it comes to Fonio. They find it delicious. Its nutty taste is unanimously appreciated. What's more, it can be adapted to all types of cooking. It can be steamed or prepared like rice. It can also be eaten as a garnish, in salads or in bread form. Some people are even fond of desserts or traditional Fonio dishes. Fonio is the missing ingredient in all our recipes. Far too little known, it's high time to put Fonio on the map. What is its future in our diet? What might the dishes of the future look like? Don't hesitate to give us your opinion by leaving us a comment below. We look forward to hearing from you. See you soon on aTech.